If you're looking for healing, motivation, and encouragement, check out Queen's Opinion Podcast, where lifetime events can change and inspire your life. Welcome back to another episode of Queen's Opinion Podcast. I am your host, Queen Kira, and today I have a special guest by the name of Ellie.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Ellie.
Thanks for having
You
me.
are welcome. Thanks for coming on. I was just about to say that. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Well. Listen, guys, this is my first podcaster. She has her own podcast, so we'll just be talking about a whole bunch of things, business and all. So let's get started.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing podcasting?
So I've been podcasting since 2018.
Okay.
I started in my closet in my studio apartment.
Okay. How did you do that? What made you?
What made me do it? I always secretly wanted to be a talk show host, but when I told my mom, she was like, "That's not a job."
Okay.
So, black moms they trying to love you, but they crush your dreams.
Right. Tough love. Yeah. Hit you with reality points.
Yes. So she was like, "So you're kind of smart, be an analyst."
Yeah.
Like, do something else.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was at a point in my relationship where I was not feeling very heard.
Okay.
I felt very unheard. So I would ride in the car with my mom sometimes when she would go to work, and she would listen to like these old podcasts like Freakonomics and NPR and things like that. And I was like, what if there's a black girl version of this? Because it's kind of boring. There's a lot of white people talking about quantum physics. Like,
Yeah.
I don't talk about that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me start something. And then when I really got into it, I was like, oh, I want to talk about being an entrepreneur. Because I kept starting businesses and quitting.
Okay.
And I could not figure out how all these women were actually making it through, because I kept hitting obstacles.
Yeah.
Like big ones, or like all of a sudden something big would happen in my family and I had to turn away from that, or something else would happen. So then I always felt like I was starting something and then never finishing it.
Okay.
So then my mom again was like, girl, what you gonna do? I'm not gonna buy you another candle kit.
Right.
You gotta figure out something.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm the entrepreneur-ish, right? So that's how I came up with the name for my show, Entrepreneur-ish.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm gonna find out how these women actually make a business. So I started talking about my journey, and then I just started DMing people on Instagram who I thought were like real cool boss people, like boss babes. And I was like, hey, I have a show. Do you want to be on it? And they were like, okay, what's your audience size? And I was like, 30. 30 people listen to my show.
Yeah. Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. So I guess because I was so enthusiastic about a show that people just started coming on. And I actually got popular really quick. I hit like 1,000 views an episode by my 5th episode.
Oh, awesome.
And it was awesome. But then that's when the jealousy from my partner at the time started happening.
Yeah.
So when the photo shoot calls started happening, and the guests and the can you do this, it was a lot of when are you gonna have time for me type questions. And I felt bad. I was like, oh, I'm not being a good girlfriend. Like, let me go take care of you. Right? So I pulled back a little bit, and in doing that, I lost my voice again, because it was the point of me doing the show.
Yeah.
So in between losing my voice, like, my life went to crap. Like, I'm a domestic violence survivor.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that going on.
Okay.
I got married and then separated in 30 days.
Oh, wow.
So imagine.
How was that? What made made you do that?
Imagine, okay, so the whole time I was getting married, I kept feeling like, I'm just going to do this. It was never like, this is forever. Even your aunts call you and want to have this conversation, right? And they were like, so how do you feel? I was like, I'm all right. They were like,
Yeah. This is not the Ellie we know. Yeah.
It's not even the reaction you saw. But like, it was so much going on. My mom had MS, and she had just ended up in a wheelchair, and she had been in the hospital for days. And he was in and out of the hospital because he found out he had cancer.
Oh, wow.
And my sister was getting married the same year. So it was just a year.
A lot, yeah.
It's the year of everything. So I was like, yeah, we're just going to do this because it's on the calendar.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
really what it is. It's on the calendar. I paid a lot of money for it.
Let's do it.
What's going to happen. And then things just got too much to handle. On my honeymoon, we fought the entire time to the point where the cops are called and he was taken away. And that was the last time I saw him.
Okay.
And the change happened when you have people who speak another language than you tell you in their own language, why are you here? There's no reason for you to be here. You deserve more than this. Like, imagine somebody saying that to you in Spanish and you I barely speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But I was understanding this lady and how she was looking at my soul like,
this is not for you.
You don't need this.
Yeah.
So when they took him away, I had to make this decision, like, what are you going to do?
Okay.
So I did the courtesy call to his mom, and I was like, you're going to have to get your son out of jail, and I'm not coming back. And I think the funniest thing that happened was the pastor trying to get us back together. I think that was probably the funniest thing. But I was definitely, at that point, I was like, yo, I'm like really gone. Like, I did this whole thing 30 days ago.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not proud of this.
Yeah,
like, I'm not
done.
excited about leaving. Like, there's none of that. But I'm not doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
This is, no, thank you.
Okay.
So after that, I came back home. My mom's birthday was like 3 days later. So she had this dinner. And I'm sitting across the table. And one of her friends that has known me since I was little, their son's girlfriend was on my podcast, the first season that I had.
Okay.
And so I was like, hey, how's she doing? And they started crying. I was like, why? She had committed suicide because of her business and because she felt like it wasn't going anywhere. And that was the day where I was like, man, I had a platform. And what if my audience could have changed her life?
Yeah.
And changed how her business moved.
Yeah.
What if just me talking to somebody can change somebody's entire life? So then I was like, let's pick up this podcast again. So I picked up the podcast, and that was like season 3. And then I have not put it back down since then. I think, honestly, that's the reason why I don't quit anymore. Is because I'm like, you really have impact. Somebody is waiting for you to
say something, speak to them, to reach
move.
them. Yeah,
for you to move, for you to create something for people to go through, like to get through. Like, you have no idea what your platform does for people.
Yep.
You have no idea what they learn from it, how you touch people.
Yeah,
that's why I love podcasting. It's like I get to sit in a space and have a conversation that ripples. And so I was like, let me keep doing this. So 2 years
here
later.
we are. How was it for you during COVID?
Ooh, so COVID was when all this stuff was happening. So I was on hiatus for my show. I think I did 2 episodes that year. And so the biggest thing for me at the time, and all podcasters can attest to this, is consistency. You just got to get up. You just have to get up and do it.
Yeah.
And for me, you'd be like, okay, I skipped a week. That's fine. We'll do next week. And then you say that again. And then we'll do next month. No one's watching. That's fine. We'll do 3 months. I took a break. We'll say it's a break. And then it just kept going like that until it had been like 18 months since I had posted an episode. So then it was like, okay, you definitely took a break. So all my audience was gone. That whole 1,000 people a week that I had gotten back in 2018 was gone. They started listening to other podcasts. So I went back to 30. And so it was definitely something where it was like, I had to learn how to walk again.
I was just about to ask you, what did you do?
Really
what did you do to get to where you are now? Like, okay, you took your minute, you took your moment.
Yeah.
What did you do to pick back up to get back to that 1,000+ some now?
Okay. The best way I could say this is I'm a very stubborn person, y'all. A very stubborn person. If I want something and you say, I'm not sure that's for you, I'm going to fucking have that thing.
Yep.
In about 30 days, actually. In 30 days, I'm going to go get it. Just so I can be like, what did you say? I don't think you know me.
Run it by me again.
Right.
Yeah.
What about me didn't scream her own podcast?
Yeah.
I'm giving her own podcast.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it
belongs
is.
to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I definitely have that type of mindset. So when I said I was going to do this, I was like, I'm going to do this. So my first thing was I was like, girl, you got to get consistent. So I said, every week, you got to put out something. And I challenged myself. So I said, okay, I did it 1 week. And I was writing in my journal. I was like, okay, next week you have to do this. Mm-hmm. It comes out on Tuesday. You have to do this. So then I was like, okay, I posted again on Tuesday. And then I was like, all right, you did that twice. Do it again. So I really just kind of hyped myself up every single week to make sure I put something out.
Gotcha.
And so by the third episode, people had noticed that I was moving.
Okay.
So then people started asking to be on my show. And then it was like, now I have to do it because somebody was on my show. You got to put this out. They're waiting for it. And then it just kept going from there. And I don't know what it is. It's more so just like, I pray a lot. And especially knowing that I can get delivered through anything. Because I really know that firsthand. I can get delivered through anything.
Yeah.
My faith is crazy now. Like, I could really say something out of this world and know it's going to come to me in 60 days probably. And that's how everything's been moving. So I've just been very much like, as long as I stay stubborn in this, as long as I'm like, no, I'm going to have this.
You got to do it. Yeah. Okay.
Like, you have to do this. You got to go to your show. I don't care. I've had deaths in the family. I've had no money and I've had to ask people for to pay for my studio time. I've had to skip bills to pay for it. I've had to spend days and days and days networking to find somebody to be on my show, like to get the money for whatever ticket to go to whatever expo that I knew I needed to be in the building of, because all the small business owners in Atlanta are going to be there. It was definitely one of those things where it was like, where do you know the people you need to talk to are going to be? How do you get there?
Gotcha.
How do you get there? Do you sneak in the back? There were some days where I didn't have the money for a ticket, so I would just walk in the door and see if somebody would stop me.
Really?
Yes.
Did it work?
Yes.
That's good.
A lot of times that has happened. So I did that. I did that in the expo, and that's how I met the people who got me to the studio. I did not have the money to get in there, but I had my camera, and I was like, I'm doing media here. And he was like, you're doing media here? Are you sure? And he's like, you know what? Go ahead. And so I said, okay. So I'm doing media. I took my book bag out. I had my camera, and I talked to everybody in the booth. That last booth, he was like, you know, I actually produce shows, and I have a studio. Are you, let's talk about this. And so I got his Instagram, and then you're like, okay. Now, this is the hard part about networking, at least for me. A lot of times, a lot of guys ask for my Instagram, and it's not for business.
Yeah.
So I was like, did this guy really want to have a business?
Or is he trying to talk to me?
Are we going on a date?
Yeah.
I've definitely had business meetings where I get there, and I'm like, there's flowers, and I'm like, well, I have to leave. This was not, this is not what I'm doing today. So he actually ended up being legit. I needed somebody to film my finale. And we can talk about why a little later.
Okay.
But I needed somebody to film my finale, and he ended up being that person. And then we filmed the finale. It was so much fun. Instantly we clicked. Like, me and Joe instantly clicked. And it was like, okay, how do I get this feeling again? And I was asking about it because I was like, this was the best show I've ever had. I was like, I didn't have to film anything. I got to be a host. I got to really engage with my guests and my audience. I got to be on live. I got to do all this stuff that I never had time to do because I was focused on the cameras and the lights and the this and right. So I was like, God, I really want this more often than just this one time. Were you still working, or you was just still? I was definitely still working at that time. So God pushed me into this. I would say that. He was like, get over here. Yeah. He gave it to you. Like, for real. Yeah. So we talked, and he was like, come to the studio. So I walk in, and I walked into Live Hip Hop Daily Studio. And when you go in there, you go up these stairs, And as soon as you open the door, he has pictures of all these people and their podcast names and their guests. And it's like this hall of fame of all these people who do podcasts out of his studio. He's got props from all their stuff, all their branded things. And it really just made me go, this is podcast world. This is everything I wanted. Like, you can see in the back, there's different stages, different chairs, different props, different everything, right? So I was like, oh, I love it here. I love it here. Like, I want to be here all the time. And so we started talking, and he was like, yeah, I have Thursdays free. I have Thursdays free. I don't have anything going on. I would love to have more clients. So I was like, okay, I heard him say that. So I was like, how am I going to get this man clients? Because I want to be in here. And the only way they're going to invite me back is if I have a reason for me to come back. So I was going to the bakery, which is this women's meetup downtown that I think a lot of women should go to, especially when you're first getting into business. Because you need people who know what you're talking about. You need people who know what it's like to be up after your job is done, trying to come up with a marketing plan or find an audience or post a picture or do this reel or advertise, whatever it is, right? So it's a group of people where she'll do like guests and they'll talk to you about how they built their business, kind of like what we're doing now, right? But in a group setting, so you get to meet the girls beside you and then the ones on stage. So I went there a lot when I was like, I needed a networking place. I really don't remember how I got over there, but the bakery was basically,
where is that located in?
It's downtown.
Okay.
It's up Howe Mill. Okay. So right at that edge of 75. Before you get into the meat of everything. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I used to go there all the time, and that's where I got my guests. And I just went there, and I was like, y'all got to come to the studio. Somebody come to the studio with me. So I would talk to somebody, and if they had ever talked about that they wanted to do a podcast, or I told them what I was doing, and they seemed interested, I was like, come with me on Thursday. Come on, girl. Let's get over here. Yeah. And I did that every single Thursday for a month and a half. So 6 weeks of me just bringing people. And I mean bringing people. We set everything up. We would film like a audition tape, basically, with me talking to them and stuff like that. And I did that every single Thursday. And this guy, he's got cameras in the studio. He was watching me on camera like, who is this girl? I mean, bringing 20 people sometimes, like, wherever I was going, I was like, y'all come to the studio on Thursday. So I would just keep texting people and be like, come to the studio, you come to the studio. And then I would have 20 people there. So he was like, okay, so you make moves. Do you want to do an audition? I was like, yes, finally. This has been 6 fucking weeks. Yeah. It's been 6 weeks. Yeah. Put me on. I want to show. Yeah. What do you think I'm doing? So I finally got my show, and I had a friend of mine sit down on a couch and we like kind of filmed it, right? It was the best feeling that I had ever had. And I guess it went well because he was like, okay, you start in April. And imagine literally saying you want a live show in December, and by April, having a live show, like literally 90 days later, like literally from I'm doing this podcast out my book bag to 90 days later, I'm signed with the crew and I'm live every Thursday. Talk about consistent, right? So now, check. I am consistent every single week. I don't have to worry about editing. I don't have to worry about anything. My show is live. It's going to be there. So then I had to move from that. Now that it's live, how do you want it to be live? Does it have a structure? Do you have particular guests? I had to start thinking a little bigger. But I always start with one goal, and I'll just kind of do whatever happens until a goal happens. And then I figure out, okay, this actually worked, keep that. And then, okay, we go to the next one. And that's just how I've been moving.
That is awesome.
It's a very long answer.
No, but it makes sense. And you're giving me some gems. You're dropping some gems with me as well. So, I appreciate that.
This is a consistency game. Yeah. Whoever stays in the game longest wins. That's really what it is. That's it. And shit else.
I got you. Well, I want to stay in it as long as I can. It's fun. Podcasting is fun. You do get to meet different type of people, their walks of life. And with my podcast, it's more of a inspirational, motivational type, encouraging type podcast. So with yours, with everybody. I'm with everybody as well, but it's more of a come in, relax, and just lay everything out on the table and be comfortable while you're doing it, because it's no judgment. I've interviewed in all walks of life, and I'm not done, but I want everybody just to be comfortable, feel at home when you come on my pod, and feel welcome. How do you feel on my pod?
I do feel comfortable. I was gonna say, I typically have reservations about doing podcasts in people's houses, because I've like I said, I've been through a lot. We talked about this off camera.
Yep.
I was like, being in this and trying and being hungry, you end up in a lot of weird situations.
Yeah.
So I had one where I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this again. But I saw your show and I saw how you interacted with people, and I was like, okay, this isn't going to be weird. But I'm so serious.
Yeah.
It's a vibe thing.
Yeah.
It really
It has to be.
And then, like I said, I pray a lot. So I prayed on my way here. I was like, look, just please protect me. I just want to give my voice. I don't want anything else to happen.
Absolutely.
So I feel good.
Well,
and I'm glad you give this vibe. Like,
I am
and
glad.
I love your set.
Thank you.
I never got to do like an at-home podcast set. I love this.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
cute.
you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's more to come. So how do you feel being in the studio when you're there?
Ooh.
What made you went from your closet to the studio?
What? What? That's what it feels like. It feels like my birthday every Thursday. That's what it feels like. It feels like my birthday. I think when it's your journey, you know what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Other people might look at you like, oh, she has her own show. No, boo. This took a long time.
Yeah, seriously. And I'm still working.
And I'm still working very hard to keep my chair.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so it's definitely one of those things for me where I'll get up and I'll walk around and I'm like, the girl who kept trying to get in the studio is really here. And really, people are excited for her. Like, I did a birthday episode and the owner of the studio brought me champagne on camera. And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This same person who was like, she don't need a show. She's fine, right?
Had to come back.
Celebrating, right? And I love that. I love what determination does. So one thing that really kind of helped me get this type of mindset was working out.
Okay.
During my trouble times, right? I needed an outlet. So one day I just started going to the gym. Okay. I don't know what it was. Okay. I just started running. I started going to the gym. I got a membership. My coworker at the time was like, hey, you should come work out with me. I guess she was seeing that I was sad. I don't know. Yeah. You know, like some people
It'll change you,
Right. You know, some people can see different things. And she was like, when I was going through all my stuff, when I started working out, everything got better. So I said, okay. I went with her. I met her trainer. And I had the greatest workout. I felt so good. I felt like I was with friends. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was in this space that wasn't negative, because my whole life was negative at the time. I found a positive energy space. And so when I started working out, it took 3 months for me to lose any weight. That's very hard to do because you're like, the fuck am I on this treadmill? Yeah. Like,
I don't see nothing.
Right, so I'm about to get off, right? Yeah. But it was kind of one of those things that I was like, if you get off, then you're just off. There's no chance. At least if you're on this treadmill, you might lose a pound. Like, it's possible. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that type of mindset is how I kind of treat everything else now. It's like, if you get off the treadmill, like, you're never gonna see any results. So that's kind of how my show feels like.
You staying on this treadmill has got you to where you are.
And sometimes it's not fun. Yeah. Sometimes I don't want to be on that treadmill. Yeah. Sometimes I'm up there unwilling.
Yeah, seriously.
And I need somebody's hand. And I need somebody to say, you know, that I really need you to come. Or and not even, I haven't done it for external reasons in a very long time.
Okay.
But a lot of it is more like, you know why you're here. Please don't forget why you're here. And if you're going to give this moment out, why?
Gotcha.
Because it's like, you worked very hard for this. Why would you not show up on Thursday?
Yeah. Seriously.
After all this work, all this time, you're just going to give
sacrifice and all of it.
Yeah. You're just going to stop?
Yeah.
For who? So that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, for who?
Yeah. You got to do it for yourself, especially when it's something you love. Just like go back to, you said you had a co-host at one point in
I
time.
did.
So how did that go with the ending of that?
So when I moved back in with my mom when I left my ex.
Okay.
And during that time, it was just me, and I was doing it virtually.
Okay.
And the girl who actually got me into podcasting, well, not back into podcasting. When I met her at a photo shoot when I first started podcasting. And she saw that I was posting podcasts again. She was like, "You're podcasting again. I need your help."
Okay.
I started a podcast, and I don't have time to do it. I have 2 jobs. I got all the stuff going on. Can you please, like, I have all these people who want to be on my show, but I don't have time, right?
Okay.
And I was like, well, I have time. And the reason why I had time at that time is because I got laid off. So this is what I said when I said God pushed me into this.
Yeah.
It was literally like, I remember I was at work and I did this video where it was like, God, please come pick me up. I don't need to work. And 2 months later, I was laid off. I was like,
wow.
Be careful what you say.
Seriously.
So, I had all this free time. She lived in Macon. So I would drive to Macon every weekend and I would go help her with this show. And in doing that, I started networking because, if I'm at the show, all the other people are podcasting. They know somebody. They know this is just how you move. And so we were networking around Macon, and then we decided, hey, we're actually pretty fun. Like we have a good combination. She's definitely we're opposites.
Okay.
I would say that we're definitely opposites. I'm definitely more of the free, like thinking, free moving person, and she's definitely more of a structured person.
Gotcha.
So to have and she was married and I was single, so it was definitely this kind of like cool dynamic of she's dating, I'm not, like like this type of vibe. So we were like, let's do a show. So we did 3 shows in Macon. And when it was time to do the Atlanta show, it just never happened. It just never happened. And I think at that point, we just worked differently. She was like I said, she's a very structured person. So when it was my time to do an Atlanta show, the way I always did my shows was like, I just have faith. I'm just like, look, the show's on Friday, somebody will be here Friday. It's a whole chaotic thing that happens, but every Friday, somebody's actually coming, there, right? So it doesn't make sense, but I know that that's just what it is. Yeah. So I kept trying to tell her, hey, just relax on me. It's going to happen. I promise you. Like, I promise you it's going to happen. But, some people don't faith like I do. Yeah. So I just had to
keep it moving.
Yeah, it was just kind of one of those things. And she was like, yeah, we can't do it. And so when she stopped being able to come, so like we couldn't find a date at that point because now I'm busy. Now I have people up here who now have a show. Now I have guests coming. So my schedule's not open anymore. So it started off as this girl with the open schedule, and then 3 months later I don't have an open schedule anymore, and now we can't. And so then it was like between the way we worked together and the schedule thing, it just never ended up happening. So we have the episodes. I thought they was cute. Yeah. I wish we could do some more. I feel like a podcast has to be consistent. Yep. I feel like you need at least 12 episodes. And if you can't bust out 12 episodes with somebody, depending on your schedule, then don't do it. Yeah. You need 12 episodes.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Definitely the consistency.
Take 2 days off. Yeah. Do the whole podcast. And then don't edit it for 2 months and then put it out for 3 months. And then that'll give you enough time. I tell people, take your time with podcasts. Yeah. It's fun.
And you have to, but you got to love it too. It has to be more than just, we're sitting here, because it's the background work that goes with it. It's going to take some time to do it, but you got to be consistent if that's what you really want to do. Yeah. So even with mine, I'm thankful and grateful that I do have somebody that does all of this. I do just have to show up. But at the same time, I know that's a lot. So I'm still learning also with people coming on and starting to network with people, and just like with you on, I'm very grateful for that. Yeah. But I want to do more. Yeah. I see more coming just with being consistent, but it is fun. It really is fun.
I would say set a crazy goal. Just set it. And then tell everybody about it. And it'll come true. I promise you. That's how things work. So do the same thing with your show. Be like, I want to have so-and-so on my show, right? And you just tell everybody that. You tell everybody that until somebody goes, I actually know her.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's really how it works.
Have you been just piggyback on the whole with doing it by yourself or whatnot? Did you get a chance, or have you heard about the B. Simone and Jessica separating?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? What's your intake on that?
So, friendship's hard.
It is.
Friendship is hard.
It is.
It can be. That's how I feel about it. I love that they were real enough to be real with us for as long as they were. Mm-hmm. You also got to remember their friend died.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's a lot going on. It's no longer COVID. So, people are starting to go back outside, do their shows. It's a lot of things. And then also, their success was so fast.
Yeah.
And it depends. Also, is that what everybody wanted? To me, it always seemed like B. Simone was there for comedy, right? And then Megan was there for the spiritual interaction. And I always remember, because I didn't watch the show for a while, one of my people that I used to hang out with, she put me onto the show. And she was like, so I thought I was going to watch for B. Simone, but Megan's the best part.
Yeah.
And
she did bring a lot. She brought it.
She made the podcast. Like, B. Simone was there to give her, she's recognizable, right?
Because of who she already is.
Yeah, she already had an audience. Yeah. So I feel like if Megan had tried to do that by herself, it would not have taken off because no one knew who Megan was, right? This is what I mean by introductions are everything. Because if you say, hi, my name is B. Simone, this is my friend Megan. Yeah. Now you're on the same level. That's what it was. Yeah. And so then at that point, now Megan has her own platform. B. Simone has her own platform. When you can do things without somebody else, a lot of times you're not gonna involve them. And I think that's what happened.
Okay. I think
that's really what happened. And I really feel like at the end of the day, they're both going to have amazing careers. Yeah, because
most definitely.
Megan is she was always a behind-the-scene person, and now she has a face. She can go anywhere she wants to.
That is true.
Same thing with B. Simone's other friend, Pharaoh. Now she's an artist.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes
you have to separate. Yeah.
Is the reason why you end up with your own platform.
True.
So
that is true.
I feel like the type of friendship they had, they'll be fine personally. We just might never ever see it again. Yeah. And I think they might just keep their friendship off podcasts from now.
And I also think, just from listening to a little snippet of it, I don't want to say jealousy, but in a sense with them, it seems like Megan was a little like, I know they both probably were sad, but I feel like some things transpired with them personally. I think so too. And it seems like Megan was like, this is my last and final straw. Nothing against B. Simone, but this is my last and final straw with you, because I've had a conversation with you. I've told you how I felt. And it's like it went null and void to a certain extent, because listening to B. Simone's side with some of it, she's just like, I can't believe we're doing this. Just what it sounds like. It still had to happen, but just the sound of it, like, what are we do? Why are we doing this? What? Like, she doesn't know what's really going on.
Okay.
Only to a sense, but I do feel like it's gonna make it rocky for them. I do. So. Because, like you stated, friendships are hard.
They are.
And sometimes when the other person is transitioning or trying to move a certain type of way, that's when it's really tested to me.
Yeah.
When it comes to your friendships with
this
people.
Reminds me of the JT Carisha conversation. Everybody's always talking about how City Girls not really all together anymore, and they don't really do stuff because Carisha has this and she has that, and JT. But I'm like, both of them are living their dreams.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's okay to live your dreams separately.
Absolutely.
Even if you came up together.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
At some point, I want to do something else.
Yeah.
And I think a real friend would allow you
to
space
do that.
to do that. So that's why I feel like they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if it was not working if the podcast was the reason why they were having a rocky friendship, hell yeah, I'm stopping the podcast.
Yeah.
I've been friends with you for 15 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
forget the podcast.
Yeah,
like, I don't
we'll
even
just
care
go
about
our own
it.
separate
Right,
ways
exactly.
with that. Yeah, so I can still have
so
my
I can
friend.
have a friend.
Yeah.
Because the way they were friends is why everybody watched that show.
Absolutely.
Because the stuff they've been through
Yeah.
and the way they hold on to each other
Yep.
through everything, it's not worth the podcast.
No, it's
Delete
not.
the podcast.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think if people are real fans, they'll be okay.
Absolutely.
They'll be like, nah, I would rather y'all stay friends
Yeah,
and give me
I
another
agree.
episode.
I definitely agree with that. So in this journey that you're on with your podcast, have you met any celebrities or anything like that? Or have you worked with some people?
So you definitely meet celebrities. I would say this. I think one thing that I had to do was stop saying celebrity.
Okay.
This puts them on a different level than
you, yeah.
And they seem untouchable. And
Okay.
it makes your brain really think of, how do I get up there?
Yeah.
But you're really there.
Yeah.
You really are already there. But the moment you say like they're better than me or whatever you put in that, it makes them further from you.
Okay.
So what I had to start saying was I wanted to find people with platforms, right?
Okay.
And so, like I said, in Atlanta, this is a city of who are you,
Okay.
right? Everybody's famous in Atlanta. How are you famous?
Yeah.
That is really what it
Got
is.
you.
When you walk in a room, it's like, okay, where are you famous at? Like, okay, you're famous in the podcasting where you're an author.
Okay.
You're a famous analyst. You're a famous scientist, whatever, but you're famous, right? Like, that's how Atlanta moves.
Okay.
So this is definitely a handshake place. So in order for me to get some of my bigger names, like I just had, I'm Tony Jones on my show. Like I thought that was crazy. She has like a huge platform. She does affirmation music. I met her producer on accident. He left his book bag in the studio from another show.
Wow.
And came back during mine, sat down and watched my whole show just so he could meet me. So this is what I'm saying. And he knows everybody in the industry. I will go with friends to their parties and they're networkers. And so they'll be like, hey, this is my friend. You should know. And then same thing, even how I got here was, hey, I know this
somebody,
person.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is networking for me. That's celebrities to me because I've met people who have $20 million in their bank account and they don't look like it. And you would sit there and be like, that's not a celebrity, but I'm sitting next to somebody who's touched more money than
I'm trying to get
I ever touched, and I'm trying to figure out how you are you. To me, you're a celebrity.
Yeah, seriously. Those are facts.
So
Seriously.
that's kind of how I've looked at it. So I look at platform and I look at accomplishments.
Okay.
And then I also look at what I'm trying to do in my life.
Okay.
So I've definitely met people who touched a lot of money, and after the show, I asked them how. They told me exactly how. I'm on the journey of doing that. And I'm like, you just take the gems. You take what they have.
Yeah.
Or you have a platform. Okay, so I was on so-and-so's platform. That's 11,000 more people who know me. That's 200,000 more people who know me. Like, that's how I look at it.
Okay.
A lot less big name. Because I feel like I can't worry about that right now.
That's all right.
I feel like if I'm so focused on who I have on my show, I'll never do a show because I'll be like, you're not big enough, right? I'm going to miss a story. I'm going to miss an opportunity. I'm going to miss somebody who actually knows the person who I'm trying to get to. That can be so-and-so's manager. That can be so-and-so's cousin. You know,
or you could actually
know.
be the person that they're actually looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I get it.
So I definitely told myself, I'm not worried about names right now. I'm worried about having conversations and people want to watch.
Okay.
So that's what I focus on.
Okay. So what is your next move? What are you planning on doing?
So next move.
What you trying to do now?
So I am doing live audience shows.
Okay.
So I got a taste of that in September. So like I said, I just be saying goals and I just be talking about them. And so somebody's like, I could do that for you. And I'm like, oh, really? Thank you.
Let's do it.
Let's go do it.
Yeah.
So I kept talking about how I said I wanted a live show. And then when I had a live show, everybody was like, what are you going to do next? I'm like, well, I don't know. Live audience, right? And so then I said that. And I kept going to this networking event. And they were like, hey, do you want to do your live audience show here? You keep talking about you want to do it. Do it here. So for free, I got my own platform to do a live show. I brought the cameras and everything. And when I saw how people reacted to me in person, because you know, as a podcaster, we do this with a camera and that's it.
Yep.
You hope to God somebody
watching. Yeah, seriously.
minute 15, right?
Yep.
And you're like, please watch at least to minute 30, because
seriously,
when it got interesting, right? So I was like, I gotta see what my effect is on people.
Okay.
So they told me my date. I had 2 months. And I literally told everybody for 2 months I was live show. Please come and support me. Please come and support me. Please come and support me.
Mm-hmm.
When I say that room was full.
Awesome.
It was full. And I made my boyfriend take off work. Mm-hmm. And I had everybody in there. And everybody watched the whole thing. No one looked at their phone. People actually pulled their phones out to record what we were saying and the gems that were dropping.
What were you talking about?
We were so I was talking to the founder of it's called COA Workshops, and it's a coalition for actors.
Okay.
And so it's a lot of screenwriting. It's a lot of people in the media business, because I told you I'm looking to get my show signed.
Right,
so
right.
I was like, I need to be in a room with people who are producers, know people at VH1, know people, because how else am I going to get there? Absolutely. I need to be in the room.
Yeah.
So I kept going there, and the guy who's is 3 founders, he's an Emmy winner. His name is Ralph Cooper, and so he was supposed to be on my actual show, but he missed it. So he was like, I'll do your live show with you. So I was talking to him about how he became an Emmy-winning writer.
Yeah.
And it was just about his journey, and it was unconventional. He didn't really write his first script until his 30s.
Wow.
So I keep trying to tell people, you're not old. Stop saying that. Because I'm 31, and when I remember turning 30, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so old. I should have done it all, right?
Yeah.
And then when I relaxed on that, everything started happening.
Seriously.
So same thing. So he was talking about how he didn't do much until he was like 35. That's when things started moving for him. And he was talking about how he had to move to Los Angeles, and how he lost jobs, and what the strike was like. It was all this stuff that everybody was really, really into. And when I was done, there was a line of people who wanted to talk to me afterwards. And I don't want to tear up. I'm a Cancer. I cry a lot.
You're fine.
But that was one of those moments where I was like, I really have impact. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you sit in front of a computer, or you see the views, and you're just like, I have bigger goals, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't realize that if you can move a room full of people, you can really do some things.
Yeah, most definitely.
So that's my next goal, is
Okay.
to keep moving rooms full of people. But I want to start at like the college level. I want to talk to all the girls before they're jaded and before they feel like it's too big. That's really what happens.
Yeah.
Like once you get older, you go through stuff, and it makes you timid after a while. It really makes you pull back a little bit and withhold, and maybe not dream so big. So I want to talk to them before that stuff happens. So that they know that's some bullshit. Like if somebody ever told you to dream small, you already know. No, I know a lot of women who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s who are doing just fine. So please don't tell me I can't do it.
Yeah.
So it's that type of vibe, because if I had that, I didn't have like role models like that. So it was just my mom. I really kind of tailored my whole life to my mom. We're not the same person. So I really wish I would have had that environment of women just of all walks of life, done everything, been this. My mom's friends are like that, I'd say that. CFOs, worked in colleges, like different types of very intellectual, beautiful Black women. So I got to have like, okay, there is a way that you can live, but I never saw anybody in media or in what I wanted to do. So that's when I started to look for that.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
So what made you just be like, this is going to be full time? Because this is what you do full time. This is life. This is what pays the bills. What made you just say, I'm going to do this?
They had to. Girl, I told you I got laid off. What?
Yeah.
So I got laid off from Twitter, so I was making like 6 figures. So there's no way that you go from 6 figures to 0. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And when it did for me, when I actually started, when I saw like my savings start to go low, I kicked it into high gear. It got very much like, this has to happen.
Yeah.
My livelihood depends on this happening. How do you want this to happen? Because we all ask for freedom, right? We're all like, oh, I don't want to work for anybody, right? However, when you get freedom, it's a lot of responsibility
Yep.
because you're the reason you have freedom.
Yep.
So your actions, your everything that you do is the reason why you have money or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's way different because I can go to a job and not do nothing and still get paid.
Yeah.
It don't work like that out
Yeah.
here. So I think for me, it had to. It's really had to. And then once you have to for a while, and like I said, I went through stuff. I missed bills. I missed a lot of things to focus on my show because I was like, this is what I need to focus on.
Yeah.
And it's also, God won't let me do anything else.
Right.
He just really won't. I've tried to not do my show.
Mm-hmm.
He'll bring some crazy, you've always dreamed of this thing to my doorstep. Like literally to my DMs. Like literally, hey, I have this opportunity. I was talking to a friend about you. You gonna do this on Friday with us? What? I was gonna quit. I guess I can't.
Yeah.
Because I have an appointment.
Guess I see you Friday. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
So that's how it goes. So every time I wanted to do something else, it always came back to it. So I do analytics on the side.
Okay.
I have clients.
Okay.
That does help me. But that's my entrepreneur-ish. It gives me something to talk about, trying to find clients, trying to find things like that. And then entrepreneurship is my primary job.
Okay. Okay.
So a lot of mine is advertisement and sponsorships.
Okay.
So
awesome.
that's how you do that.
Okay.
And you do that with regardless of your numbers. Don't let anybody tell you need 10,000 followers. You do not. You
Seriously,
can do it right now.
I definitely agree with that.
You can do it right now.
And that was one of my things. And still from time to time, like, who's really watching? Who are you really reaching and touching for real? Or is this person going to like it today? Or somebody going to say something out the way or whatever. But reality-wise, if it's really coming from your heart and that's what you really want to do, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter either. You got to keep doing it.
Yeah, passion has got me a lot of places.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I was getting guests with 30 views because I was excited about it.
Yeah.
If I was coming, and I will say this because this happened on my show yesterday, and I want to shout this moment out because I didn't know how realistic it was for me and how impactful it would be.
Okay, go ahead.
So confidence is equal to your bank account. That's really what it is. So if your confidence is low, your bank account won't be low. That's really it. When that lady said that, I was like, well, my bank account's low. Let me look at my confidence, right?
Yeah.
No, like for real. Like it was really like, okay, let me, like for real, if you really mean this, because you hear people say stuff and it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
You can be like, all right, that worked for you, whatever, right? So I stopped dismissing people's advice. That was the other thing. Like when I'm hearing these people, like I made $1 million in a day, and you ask them why, and then they tell you why, and then you be like, nah, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And it's like, why'd you ask them that question if you don't
weren't
really
gonna believe it? Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
So when she said that, I was like, okay, we'll work on this confidence thing. My confidence was low at the time. I wasn't gonna talk to nobody about my show.
Yeah.
It was this thing that I sort of do.
Yeah.
Would you possibly be on it for? Do you see how small I am?
Yeah.
Who's coming to that?
Yeah.
Like, it'd really be like, no, I don't think I want to be a part of that because it doesn't even seem like that. So when I started sitting up very straight and saying, yes, I have a show. This is what time it is. This is what we talk about. My audience really likes this type of guest. You seem to fit that mold. Would you like to be a part of it? It's at this time.
Yeah.
Right? And then I decided to keep that professionalism. Okay, here's an email. This is what we're going to talk about. These are the questions I want to talk about. When they get there, I have, I tell them, hi, this is what we're going to do. This is our schedule. These are the questions. Is there anything we can't talk about? That type of thing. I really do like a very, I want them to feel like she's thought about this.
Yeah.
She cares about this. This is a thing that she does, right? So that gives them that type of, okay, I can relax. She's not going to do anything crazy with me because she wouldn't do anything crazy with herself, right? And then that's just how it ends up working.
I love it.
So confidence is your bank account. And so I feel like I get more confidence every day because I'm like, okay, I did a live show with 50 people. I want to do 100. I got it. I can do it. I got those people, right? So now it's a mic problem. We just got to talk louder.
Yeah.
It's not. So that was the thing. I was like say crazy things because then it's probably that that thing that will tell you that you're okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're fine. You're on the right path. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
So that's definitely it. I'm trying to reach as many people as possible. My job is to be a light. Mm-hmm. It's a hard job. Mm-hmm. It is not for everybody.
That it is. Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But I know it's my job.
Yeah.
And when I finally realized that God had called me to be a light, I said, okay, teach me how to be a light. And that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
I'm a stubborn student. We working on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's all you can do. And then he'll find ways also too to redirect you in that situation or on that path. When you find yourself having moments or, like you said, being stubborn, he'll just be like, come on, I got you. Like, let's do that. Yeah.
He'll make me do it.
Yeah, he will.
That's really what happens to me.
He will. Like, but that's what I love about him, though.
I like that because then it's like, I can't be confused.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I kept asking for during all of the time where I was like sad and going through everything. And I just had this person always telling me that I wasn't good enough or
you're not going to make it without them probably.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like, who are you without me?
Yep.
Like, when you have somebody say that in the flesh and then you actually read about who you are and how beautiful and how perfectly formed and purposeful you are, you start to go, those are lies.
Yeah.
And then that's just kind of how I ended up out of it, was just, those are lies.
Yeah.
I'm actually good at this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, learning about God kept me in a space where I could figure out what was true and what was not. And if I should do it and what was not. So now I know if it's a good thing because it's going well. Let me tell you something. When I was getting married, everything went to crap. And I ignored all the signs. My venue lost my wedding ring.
Oh, wow.
How does that happen? Who does that happen to? They lost it. Everybody after my wedding was downstairs looking for it. That ring is gone.
Wow.
Why was I married? God didn't even want me to get married. Like,
you ignored the signs.
I ignored it.
Yeah.
It was freezing cold. Why is my grandmother outside in freezing cold weather? But she was. It's that type of stuff where you're just like, none of this makes sense.
Yeah.
But I must keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right? You know, that type of thing. No.
Like, supposed to, and I'm going to show you. Yeah.
Exactly. So then it was just kind of one of those things where now I'm like, nah, I read signs now. I read signs like crazy.
And it'll have you like that, too. Once you've gone through something, whether it's with a person or a situation, it'll have you thinking about stuff different. Like how you said, you pay attention more to like your surroundings, the people you're around, the company you keep.
Yeah.
It'll have you like that just because you've gone through some stuff.
Yeah.
And when you go through some stuff, man.
I'd say this, and I don't know if this is for anybody else. I went through it enough. So now I set hard boundaries. Because it's like, I know what's down that road. You can't goad me to get down there. You cannot trick me. You cannot lead a trail of candy down there. I know. Don't you dare pick that shit up.
Absolutely. It is not good for you. Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
But it takes going through it. So now I think I was never taught to do boundaries. I think as Black women, you kind of watch your parents do everything. There is no boundary. Your job is to beat the boundaries. Your job is to...
We always got to fight for something. It's always been a fight to get to where you are.
Kick all the boundaries down and hold on to everything. Hold the whole...
Be strong.
Yeah. So I was sick of that.
Try something different. I got to protect some things. And when you're trying to protect your peace, your happiness, it's going to come with some boundaries. It's going to have to. You're going to grow with people, grow out of people, go through some stuff, hit rock bottom at one point in time to appreciate it more. It happens. So I agree with that too. This has been fun with you. This has really been fun. I'm going to go ahead and close it unless you have something else you want to discuss.
No, I just want to tell everybody where they can find my show.
Absolutely. So go ahead and let the people know.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Elley, but I go by Elleyah. It's my stage name. And my show is called Entrepreneurish. It's on Live Hip Hop Daily each and every Thursday at 7. If you go to livehiphopdaily.tv, you can watch it. You can also watch all the other podcasts that they have on there. It's like a whole network. You can follow me on Instagram at entrepreneur.ish.podcast. And if you want to follow my personal page, it's at Elleyah. That's ELLEYAH.
Okay. Well, y'all heard that. This is Ellie. Ellie, again, thank you so much for coming on my show. I hope to have you back.
Yeah.
Also, guys, you know where to find me, Queen's Opinion Podcast, on IG, on YouTube. If you would like to collab, of course, go to Queen's Opinion Podcast at gmail.com. I'm on all platforms. And until next time, peace.